Hello, and thank you for joining us. To begin this morning, we would like to acknowledge the people whose lands we are gathered on today: the Anishinaabeg, Haudenosaunee, Lenape-Pewok, and the Attawandaron people. We would also like to recognize the First Nation communities in this area, which include Chippewa of the Thames First Nation, Oneida Nation of the Thames, and Munsee Delaware Nation. I'm Sergeant Sandasha Bao, Media Relations Officer with the London Police Service. Today we'll be sharing information in relation to the ongoing investigation into a fatal motor vehicle collision involving a 7-year-old boy on Longwoods Road in December of 2024. We ask that you hold all your questions until the end of the press conference, at which point we'll go over a few housekeeping items. I would now like to welcome Chief Tai Trung, who will commence the press conference with opening remarks. Chief.
Thank you, Sandasha, and good morning, and thank you to the media for being here as we provide an update on a tragic investigation. This incident has shattered the lives of parents, loved ones, and deeply impacted our entire community. I want to acknowledge the presence of Chair Ryan Goss from the Police Service Board, who is here today. On December 16, 2004, a 7-year-old child, Dante Caranci, was struck by a motor vehicle exiting his school bus and crossing the road toward his home. Dante died the following day. The driver of the vehicle was a 47-year-old man from Milton. A fatal collision involving a child is something no first responder ever wants to attend. This investigation took over 6 months due to the complexity of the scene reconstruction, the need for judicial authorizations, and analysis of evidence and technical assessments. I want to thank the responding officers on December 16, 2024, Our road safety section, under the leadership of Deputy Chief Scott Guilford, Superintendent Pratt, Inspector Elliott, and Staff Sergeant Anderson. Our EMS, fire partners, and hospital staff for doing everything they could for Dante. As a result of the investigation, we have reasonable grounds to believe that the driver of the vehicle committed the offense of dangerous operation causing death. We also have reasonable grounds to believe the school bus driver, an 81-year-old man from London, committed the offense of criminal negligence causing death. Both individuals have been arrested by the London Police Service. I will now ask Deputy Chief Guilford to provide further information.
Thank you, Chief. Last year, we experienced a 45% reduction in fatal motor vehicle collisions across the city, but even one is too many. Tragically, Dante Caranci was the final road fatality of the year, just days before Christmas. From the moment of that incident, our members have worked tirelessly to ensure a thorough and professional investigation. We've also enhanced our visibility and enforcement along Longwoods Road and citywide, particularly around school bus-related violations. Road safety is a priority for our organization, and we are committed to ongoing enforcement, community education, and in working alongside our City of London partners as part of the Vision Zero strategy. One last point I would like to speak to is on the critical importance for every driver to prepare to stop when amber lights on a school bus are flashing, and then to come to a complete stop at least 20 meters from the school bus when the red lights are flashing and the stop arm is extended. The safety of the children on school buses is the shared responsibility of us all. I'll now ask Staff Sergeant Mike Anderson to come forward and share the details of the investigation.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. Good morning. On December 16th, 2024, Dante Caranci, a 7-year-old boy, attended school like any other day. After school, he boarded his school bus with other children and began his journey home. The school bus was being operated by Jose Lima, an 81-year-old man from London. At approximately 3:52 p.m., the bus stopped on Longwoods Road, just outside of Dante's residence. With all emergency equipment activated, including the stop arm and flashing red lights, Dante exited the bus and began to cross the two-lane highway in front of the school bus. At the same time, Atir Mir, a 47-year-old man from Milton, was driving a 2023 Honda Pilot westbound on Longwoods Road. The investigation has determined that Mr. Mir, the lone male occupant of the vehicle, made no attempt to stop as he approached the school bus. Tragically, he struck Dante as he crossed the roadway. Despite the efforts of bystanders and emergency services, Dante succumbed to his injuries and died in hospital on December 17th. This is every parent's worst nightmare. We send our children to school expecting them to return home safely. The dangers that exist should never result in such a heartbreaking outcome. Since December 16th, 2024, the Road Safety Section has conducted a thorough investigation. Over the past 6 months, we have obtained numerous judicial authorizations, conducted vehicle analysis, and performed speed assessment using surveillance footage and measuring techniques. As a result of the investigation, on Tuesday, June 24th, 2025, the London Police Service arrested Atir Mir and charged him with 1 count of dangerous operation of a motor vehicle causing death. On Wednesday, June 25th, 2025, Mr. Mir appeared in court and was released by a justice of the peace with an upcoming court date. Additionally, on June 24th, the bus driver, Jose Lima, was arrested and charged with criminal negligence causing death. Mr. Lima was arrested and brought to court, where he was released by a justice of the peace with an upcoming court date. Although Mr. Lima is not the driver of a vehicle that struck Dante, he was the operator of the school bus that Dante was riding on. Bus drivers receive specific training in order to keep the children on their respective buses safe, and it is imperative that they follow this training to avoid tragic incidents such as the one. On December 16th, many safety steps were ignored by Mr. Lima, including failure to ensure traffic was stopped and it was safe for the child to exit the bus and cross the roadway. I want to thank those in the community who have already contributed and provided information with respect to this investigation. If there are any other members of the public who have information about this investigation, we want to speak to you. Should you wish to remain anonymous, you can contact Crime Stoppers by phone, text, or online. Thank you.
Thank you, Staff Sergeant Anderson. We will now take questions from reporters. Please raise your hand, and when called upon, I'll ask for your name and media outlet. Let us know who you would like to direct your question to, and Katie Forbes will come around with a microphone to ensure that everyone tuning in online can hear the question as well.
Thank you, Dale Carruthers from London Free Press. And I think my question would either go to the Chief or Sergeant Anderson. Are you able to say whether Mr. Mir was working, whether he was a driver of a commercial vehicle? We heard some speculation that he might have been a courier, a delivery driver. Is there any credibility to that?
In relation to that, yes, our belief is that he was working as a courier at the time. I won't get into specifically what company or anything like that, but it is our understanding at the time of this collision, he was making deliveries, yes.
Thank you.
Craig Needles with Blackburn Media. I have a couple questions. My first one is about the charges with the bus driver here. Can we go into further detail about which safety procedures were not done and were not followed? I'm just having a hard time figuring out what it may have been from the perspective of the vehicle didn't make an attempt to stop, as you said. So could the bus driver have seen that coming? Is there any way that we can explain that a little more as far as why the bus driver is facing charges here?
Yes, without going into all the specific details, through the investigation, we've gone through all the training that the bus driver would have received. And based on that training, the safety protocols that they are shown to do, both by the ministry and their company, were not followed, including essentially allowing this child to exit the bus while traffic was not stopped in the oncoming direction. Part of the reason that this took obviously 6 months of the investigation was doing the measurements, doing speed analysis, trying to determine line of sight, how long we could see from where the bus was stopped to where the oncoming vehicle was coming. A lot of those things take time. There's reenactments and try to determine speed of how the bus works, how long it takes for the sign to come out and all that. So based on everything that we've uncovered at this point, we do not believe that Mr. Lima followed the safety protocols that he should have been doing, and that is the reason for the charge.
So to make it simple, Mr. Lima could have potentially, or according to police, would have seen the driver of this other vehicle, Mr. Mears' vehicle, coming towards the bus and didn't stop Dante from getting off the bus. Is that a very simple way to say what happened here?
Yeah, very simply,
Yeah.
In our opinion, based on what we've uncovered, based on the speed measurements, sight lines from where the bus was, the vehicle would have been in sight lines for a certain amount of time. Obviously, I'm not going to go into the details
Fair.
of
Yeah,
the
that's fair.
seconds and how long it would have been, but we've determined that it was long enough that he should have not allowed the child off the bus.
And my last question is, police in this situation, there was, people have said there was, obviously it was a very difficult and very upsetting scene. Was Mr. Meir hurt during this incident at all, either before or after the car had stopped?
Not to my understanding, did he have any injuries? No.
Okay.
Kate Dubinsky from CBC News. I would like to ask Mr. Anderson, Staff Sergeant Anderson, can you're obviously sort of the closest to the on-the-ground investigators in this case. I'm wondering about the impact on first responders, especially when it is a child that they're responding to, and the supports that you guys have, but also just the impact of that. If it's not Staff Sergeant Anderson, then whoever wants to take it.
Yes, obviously, the death of a child or serious injuries when you're a first responder to a child, I think affects all of us probably more than any other call that we're going to. These are the ones we fear the most when we're going to, but we rush to them anyways. There are lots of steps in place that the organization does to provide assistance directly after, whether it's the group gathering and a briefing to discuss what's going on. There's an on-site psychiatrist that can assist us with anything we're going on. There's lots of services outside that are offered as well if you feel more comfortable leaving. I know lots of people do participate in this, and obviously these are traumatic experiences, not just for the public, but for us investigating it as well, and we need to make sure that we're taking care of each other and we're seeking the help that we need.
One more, again, it's Kate from CBC. I'm wondering about the, you detailed why it took so long for this investigation to conclude. I'm wondering if there were any video surveillance that you were able to use, or dash cam footage. You guys always call for dash cam footage in crashes. I'm wondering if that was able to help you, and if you could just sort of detail what you had to do, how many people you would have had to interview, that kind of thing, to reach this conclusion.
Yes, there was for sure video footage. We did a full canvas in and around the neighborhood. We obviously put out the plea through the media that if anybody did have dash cam footage, we have obtained as much video footage as we're aware of that exists in that area. Part of the delay is obviously getting that information, analyzing that information, and then trying to do reenactments with those cameras, even to try to get speeds of vehicles. We have done a controlled vehicle that we know is going this fast to determine frames per second, things like that. All of those things take obviously a long time, but the video definitely assisted in the investigation.
Dale Carruthers from the Free Press again. This question is for the chief. Chief, when you took the job 2 years ago, you highlighted improving road safety as one of your top priorities. Are you able to say why the state of road safety deteriorated so poorly in London prior to your arrival? Was it a lack of prioritizing it, a lack of resources, and what have you done to turn it around?
Well, I can say, Dale, that, road safety was a priority for our organization. It remains one of our top priorities, and that's a result of, as the deputy stated, one fatal death on our roads is one too many. What we've done is we've reestablished our commitment to Vision Zero. It's a global strategy that's adopted across the world. And it is a strategy and it's an initiative that we've adopted here with the city. And it really involves working with partnerships with the community and with the mindset that road safety is not just the responsibility of the police, it's a responsibility of engineering, it's a responsibility of the community, and we have a part to play in it. And what we've done is we've strengthened how we deploy our strategic assessment in all that we do from the leadership level. Little tweaks that we do in how we hold ourselves to account has great impact in the community. And that's why we seen last year almost a 50% reduction in fatal collisions. Now we want to get that to zero. And with Vision Zero, this strategy is recognizing that we can get to zero fatals. We can get to zero collisions involving personal injury, but it's recognizing that all of those collisions are preventable. So we leverage data, we hold ourselves to account, and we police based on what is happening and what we've learned. And for example, I will share with you, when we look at data, we know that last year, roughly, this city here, there's about 35 collisions that happened every day last year. Of the 35 collisions that are happening across the city, that involves your non-reportable collisions, property damage, and personal injury, including fatals. We also know that last year, roughly every single day, there are 5 collisions happening in our city that involve injuries. Some of them minor, some of them are major. And when we look at data and we look at the historical actions and responses of what drivers are doing in our city, the data also tells us that Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays are days that we need to be very aware of. We also need to be aware that between 1 and 5 p.m., those times are the most riskiest times for collisions to occur. And then we can zero in between 3 and 5. So Vision Zero is a strategy that we employ, that we continue to employ. It's more than a decade old, Dale, but I haven't done anything new. All I've done is supported our leadership and supported our people so that they can do their job. And last year is a result of some of those statistics. Having said that, we're not talking about the successes of last year. We're talking about the tragic death of what happened on December 16th of last year.
Thanks, Chief.
It's Kate again from CBC. This is for the Deputy Chief. I'm wondering how well you guys work or what could be done better in terms of working with other partners. So in this case, you've got school bus companies and then not even that, the school consortium, which is a difficult organization to penetrate for us in the media anyway. There's speed limits, there's the school bus, there's the all kinds of organizations. How well do you work with them, and are you able to say, like, you should not have a bus stopping on this 2-lane highway? And is that something that's changing or changed, or what sort of needs to happen for those, for you guys to work better using the data that the chief just talked about?
Thank you for the question. One of the priorities for us is we do have a seat at the table of the London Middlesex Road Safety Committee. So that brings together partners from across the city and through Middlesex. So we have fire, ambulance, road engineers, city managers, all sitting down, and we have those discussions. And it's not only after an incident happens, but it's also done proactively as well. What can we do better? Where do we see signs of accidents increasing? We haven't had a fatal yet, but now that we see that, what engineering can we do? What steps can we take to prevent the worst-case scenario from happening? So those are ongoing, and it continues to occur. We have members, Staff Sergeant Anderson, who is on that committee, as well as his staff, who are there and having those conversations constantly.
Sorry, one more question. Can you tell us about that picture that you've got displayed there?
Sure, that is an image of actually one of the recreations or reenactments that we were doing to test sight lines. So that is in close proximity of where the bus was stopped at the time of this collision on the date. Obviously, that's not the date in December. This is another date that we did in order to get more information and more stats for this investigation.
Okay, if there are no more questions, this concludes today's press conference. Do you have a question? Okay.
Just want to, Jerry DeWan from CTV News. With regards to the age of the school bus driver, to your knowledge, are there age restrictions on how old an individual can be to take on that role, and whether that was in question here?
From my understanding, there's no age restriction in regards to how old they are. In order to get a bus driver's license, you have to be over the age of 21 years, but there's nothing in legislation that says there's a maximum you have to be under this age.
And testing, what requirements are there involved to ensure that they are safe to operate a vehicle like this?
Yeah, so in order to get your bus license, and in this case, it was an E-license that was required, as it was a smaller bus that was under 24 passengers. So they do courses with the ministry, they do written tests, they do a driving test, they do medicals, they do vision test as well. And then once they do that, once they get hired by the bus company, they do additional training as well with them. From my understanding, it's every 5 years that they would then do additional testing that's required, and unless your company requests additional training.
We may not know this, but Craig Needles from Blackburn Media again. How recently had Mr. Lima completed training when it comes to especially the eyesight issue and things along those lines? Had it been almost 5 years? Had he recently done it, or do we not know the answer to that?
I specifically don't know when his last testing off the top of my head is right now, sorry.
It's all right. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions? Okay. This concludes today's press conference. Again, thank you all for joining us. We will post the updated media release on our LPS website and social media channels shortly.